whom I believe is familiar to most, if not all of us. Our second speaker is Leah Cohen, who is working on her effective coaching pathway, Reaching Consensus. And the title of Leah's speech this evening is Charitable Causes. She has 23 minutes for this speech, just to remind you all. Please welcome Leah.
I'm going to start again. In almost every culture and religion, there is a duty to give to charity. My family always followed this moral value, and we all donate a portion of our income. This year, my youngest son started his career, and he has a good job. And he and his family decided to join our tradition and give part of their income to charity. He called me the other day and he discussed with me, where should they send their money? What choice is the right choice to give their yearly budget to? The conversation was so thought-provoking that it gave me the idea of my assignment tonight. I was thinking, each of us has different vision for donate to charity. And each one of us is also trying to make a positive and meaningful difference in people that needs their help. So imagine, we as a group have a budget of, let's say, $20,000 for a yearly donation as a group for Conejo Toastmasters. And how is it possible to reach a consensus and agree upon one cause that the whole group will agree upon? Each one has different aspirations and different values. My goal tonight is that each one of us will share his personal priority, and together we'll try to come to a consensus and to an agreement where to send our money, our $20,000, to donate as a group. We're going to start our discussion by looking at different options. I chose 10 categories that I prepared, and we're just going really quick to go over them. And we'll just go for the first 5 now, and we'll just go over it real quick. The first one is all about poverty, is providing the necessities to people who don't have them. And here you might be familiar with food banks or MANA or all kind of charities that give to the poor. And I listed some ideas. The second one is education. It could be whatever I put there as a category, but you are familiar with Big Brother and Sister or literacy programs in the libraries and all sorts of things that are improving our education, especially to people who don't have it. Health and medical care, I just put the most obvious. We in the Conejo here have free clinics and vaccination we had. So you can think about that. If nature is close to your heart, you think about climate change, clean water, promote recycling, or AJ is doing in his business, environmental conservation, habitats, clean water, sanitation, animal welfare. That's also include fighting against experiments using animals, as is very common. And now we're going to go to the other 5 that I proposed: human rights and social justice, everything for this against discrimination. You can put anything under that category. Arts and culture, making it accessible and making it happen. Homeless and housing, no need to explain too much. We all exposed to it all over the place, every day almost. Number 9 is religious causes, which people donate most of their donation to their churches or their temples. And those organizations, religious organizations, do the humanitarian causes as well. But it's included in under religious causes. And lastly, political causes, a political party, candidates, local, state, that fits your agenda, your aspiration. So this is the list, which we can take out of the screen now. Each one of you has the list of these categories. The people in the room have it on paper, on your desk. You can turn it now, turn it over. And purposely, I left half a page blank so you can write notes for what you want to say or for the discussion, or you want to take notes and anything you want. The people online has it in the WhatsApp group chat. So everybody has the same list for you to look at as reference. Now we are all ready. Each one of you is invited to look at the list and choose only one cause that is closest to your heart. We are not going to divide the money between several causes. We're choosing one cause as a group to get to a consensus. Everybody should have something to say. So I invite you to look at it, and you can raise your hand, the Zoom people as well, of course, and we can start with Caesar, maybe.
St. Jude Children's Hospital Research Facility. It's a cancer research facility for children, and all the donations are towards the people who take services from them, and they don't pay $1.
I would like to just make it more focused. I would like you not to choose a specific organization as a hospital or something like that. You can talk about why donating to health is important, or important to you, or important or make the biggest difference. But don't choose like name of a church or name of I don't know, manna. Just choose a category so the discussion will be more focused. Please.
I am a big believer and
No, that's okay. Good. I just wanted to have 2 in the room.
oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Okay, sorry. I am a big believer and supporter for health and medical care, especially with type 1 diabetes. Not everybody has full access to insulin. And it's so important that everybody has equal access, especially with the technology.
Okay, wonderful. Please. That's why I wanted 2 microphones, one over there.
as I look through this list, there's nothing that is not important. And some of those are really fundamental for surviving, like poverty. How can you, ignore that kind of cause? Other one is climate change. Like, if you don't fix that, are we going to have a planet? But one thing that kind of differentiate from everything else for me is the education. And if I look at the human history, the primary difference is how we think, how we have evolved is because of that education. It's because of that perspective. So whether that's about climate change, whether that's about poverty, other societal issue, if we are not well educated as a species, I believe we cannot progress much. So my vote goes to education.
Thank you. How about Bonnie?
Thank you. I also agree with what Naren just said, but what I wanted to add to that is that as long as we're giving as a Toastmasters group, Conejo Valley Toastmasters, I think education is as close to what we're doing in our own group as is on that entire list. So I would like to give towards education, because I would put learning how to speak and communication, which is so important to life skills. I would like to give to learning the life skills that we're learning here. I know you said don't give to a particular organization, but I want to support many, 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 many up and coming Toastmasters with the $20,000.
I want to, I'll let you talk next, Kayla. I want to challenge you a little bit with your thinking. In critical thinking, we bring a topic of debate or discussion to the extreme. If you choose one cause, you have to consider, just for the thought experiment, it's not in real life, you have to think that all the other categories will not get that money. So let's say the most necessary, as Nareen mentioned, is poverty, because it's saving lives, actually saving lives. However, would you do that? The rest of the world were not in that category of poverty, dying from lack of food, will not have, let's say, art and music and museums and churches and temples. So when you choose something, or animal rights and things that are really close to people's hearts, and they are passionate about it, you have to think that the whole budget of the world will go to that cause. That will really make you think about it seriously in significantly might change your aspect and view about your value system. Please. I just want to make it sharper, to challenge more thinking.
Thank you. I think out of everything on the list, probably medical and healthcare would be the most important, because, and I've heard from a lot, because both of my parents work in the medical, they're both a doctor and a nurse. And I just think, in my own opinion, it's very, very wrong for someone to not make it if they have a disease or something, because they can't afford to have the treatment. And I think if people were going to donate more to that, to health and medical insurance, it should be to do something, I'm not even sure what, but something about that, because it's just not right how many people need help, but like can't afford to have it.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you very much. All right, let's go on. Adam.
I'm going to pick education. I think if you teach people how to gain access to what they're looking for by giving them a formal education and making it more of an equitable solution, they'll be able to get many of the other things on this list. If you pick education, you're giving them access to a better job, which will get them better healthcare. you're also making it more likely that they'll have an income, so they won't be in poverty, that they won't be homeless, that they'll be able to fight for human rights because they'll be more educated on different issues. So I really think that education is at the crux of many of these things that we're trying to eliminate. And so therefore, giving charity or giving all our money to education will help solve the rest of the problems.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's see, anyone on Zoom want to participate? Yes, Heidi.
Thank you so much. No one's touched on this one, but the ones that don't have a voice, animal welfare, absolutely is one of the ones I'm most passionate about, as well as, like I said, those who cannot speak up for themselves. That would be orphanages, children, babies that end up homeless and without parents, and they end up in a system that is broken, as well as same thing happens for animals. Same thing actually goes for even the planet as a whole. It can't speak to us only in the weather. We can only imagine what each of these things think. So we need to take it from a different perspective and actually really hone in on what those things need. They're important. They support us. They give us love. They support our
Are you talking
future.
about animals?
Not
Still-
just animals, children, animals, and our environment in a whole, those who cannot speak. So I guess animal welfare, and that would spread out to environmental conservation and human rights. So,
All right.
yeah. That's all.
Okay, so everything in environmental aspect plus children. I would
As well
put to
as
that.
animals.
I said, yeah,
Yeah.
I meant that nature include animals, of course. But I don't know if you guys saw the movie Sound of Freedom. This talks about, not talks about, it's a true amazing story about children trafficking, and they have no voice. So it came immediately to my mind. This I would put in human justice also. Yeah, anyway, anyone has anything? You went out of a little bit of healthcare, education, and poverty are the three big ones. Let's go to second level. What would be plan B? Let's say the first priority is decided in the group. Let's say you have another $20,000. Where would that go? What would be your second most important category to donate, that second tier of donation?
It's I think for the next cause, like, what's your name?
Namir? No.
No, next to Namir. Like
Adam.
Adam was saying, is education. And if there were more funds going to that, I would say specifically, they need to teach, especially high schoolers, more about how money works and financial things, because I'm in college and I'm only just now, since a couple of years ago, getting to learn how a credit card works and how all of those things work. And we did have an economics class when I was in high school, but it wasn't really that helpful. It just taught us more big picture things. And there's not really anything that they were teaching in it that we could apply in real life right now. So I think they definitely need to have, they should have a whole class about that. And I think it would really help kids a lot.
Okay, you're being very specific, but education is the main
Yes,
goal, the
yes.
second tier. Very good. Well, very, very homogenic group. Everybody thinks the same. Eric, before I let you, let's go to Karen, if that's okay.
along the lines of education, I would have to agree with some of the things that have already been discussed, but I would want more specifically that it would not necessarily go to the current institutions that we have today, because they would filter it out and turn it into something that wasn't so practical as Kayla is talking about. So, I mean, I'm all for education in both the first and second tiers, because I believe that it is through education that some of these other causes and solutions could be alleviated.
Can you explain what do you mean not educational institutions? What does that mean?
Meaning formal, because the government has now dictated what it is that our children are supposed to learn, rather than giving them practical experience, practical and conventional pieces of education. Like Kayla said, why is it that high schoolers haven't had education on finance? It is one of the most important things in our society. It is why credit cards people are filing bankruptcy all the time. They can't pay their bills and all these things because they don't understand how money works. And it starts with our government's education system and how subjects are approved within our public education system, including universities. So,
yeah. So to make it more narrow, you suggest extracurricular programs of education.
side programs, so to
Correct.
speak.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
When I was living in Santa Monica, we had a program that we had started in the Santa Monica School District, where we actually were taking high school teachers and giving them pay to go and work in an official private company so that they could actually see what it was like, so that they could then in turn give that knowledge to their business class attendees in high school. And I think programs like that would work.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Eric, please.
Yeah, thanks, Leah. I have to agree with the building consensus here. I obviously would pick education as well. Literally nothing on this list is relevant or even able to be approached without education. You don't have medical and healthcare. You can't cure any of those things without science, technology, math, and advancement of technology. Education and science and all those things build the world that we live in. With those things, you get that. If I had to pick a second item, this would probably be pretty debatable, but I feel like there's this, if you have the educational foundation, how do you gauge direction with a society? And I think putting it towards religious causes, maybe not religious causes in the mindset that, you know, a church necessarily with dogma and so forth, but things that will result in more moral structure so that we can better direct ourselves as a society. That's my thought on the second tier.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We're coming to the end of our time, and we pretty much didn't even touch most of the categories. It seems that we all think on the same page, and we agree that education is our top choice, and with different variation, where to send it or which educational theme to focus on. To which a final decision will be maybe next time, but I think it's very obvious that we really got a consensus, and I didn't even touch upon the other issues that I want to bring up, but this we could leave for our next meeting. Thank you for participating so willingly, and I hope you are leaving this speech with something to think about.